Hi, I'm Sinta Danu, and I'm a professional astrologer and psychic. So today we're going to be going over the Capricorn Full Moon. So this full moon happens on the 21st, so that's going to be on Sunday. I'm going to do a personal zodiac for each of the zodiac signs based on that full moon. Okay, so now we're going to go into the horoscopes for each of the 12 zodiac signs, how this full moon is going to affect you personally. I would advise that you look into both moon sign, sun sign, and rising sign. Your rising sign is likely to be most accurate because this is based mostly on where the planets are, like which houses they will be in based on the sign on the ascendant. So the most accurate will most likely be your rising sign. So let's get started. So looking at Aries, this is going to be from your 10th house to your 4th house. You're going to have the moon in the 10th house and the sun in the 4th house. And so this is a lot of tension between your home life and your career. You're likely to see this power struggle with bosses, authority figures in your career, in your job in some way. So be aware that if there has been any kind of issues at work, it's likely to be exacerbated during this full moon on Sunday. And I know that you're a little bit impulsive and you're super independent and you want to be in charge, but potentially the people who are in charge in your life in some way, whether elders, bosses, the government, will probably be creating some kind of power struggle with you during this day. So don't be as impulsive with these people because it likely could be turned into a much larger issue than you're prepared to deal with. We do have Pluto in the 11th because it's right on the cusp with the moon and Pluto. So this is also likely to create power struggles with friends or in networking and associations, groups, things of that nature. There's likely to be some kind of power struggle there as well, related most likely to your career and authority figures, maybe a father figure as well. We do have Uranus in the 2nd, conjunct Mars in the 3rd. So we're looking at unexpected events where things might be triggered and kind of blow out of proportion in regards to your income and your transportation. So I would be careful. Make sure that, if you're going to work, that you get gas the night before because you might have some trouble with your car likely on Sunday. It could also be that something does occur at work that really disrupts your income in a way that's not good, right? Like you could lose your job potentially with that. So don't be super impulsive. There is a lot of unexpected events that could occur in your house of income and values. Also, a lot of this energy is being pulled to your 12th house. So you might be in a sense of paranoia in general with this because this is triggering a lot of stuff in your subconscious and pulling a lot of things from like the universal subconscious. So I would just be wary not to let your fears get the best of you and don't act impulsively. Those two things. All right. So Taurus, the moon is going to be in your 9th house and the sun's going to be in your 3rd house. So for you, there's likely to be issues in regards to transportation and education and travel, things of that nature. There could be some power struggles in regards to religion and culture, where you could, have some kind of disagreement with some religious authority figure or cultural authority figure in your life that you're having problems with. This is also affecting your 10th house because Pluto will be in your 10th house. So there again could be power struggles with authority figures, government, elders, father figures, things of that nature that are causing restriction in your life in some way. Where unexpected events are likely to occur are in your 1st and 2nd house. You've got Uranus in the 1st and Mars in the 2nd. So Uranus in general is disrupting your sense of self, your autonomy, who you are as an individual, how you identify yourself. There's a lot of disruption around that. I would also be a little bit careful because that can be your physical body as well, that there could be disruptions to your physical body and your health in some way. It's a little bit likely for physical accidents with Uranus and Mars in the first house, especially to the head specifically. With Mars in the second house, though, this could also cause a little bit of disruption to your income and your values. So just be a little bit cautious with any of these conflicts you may be having in regards to culture, learning, transportation, especially in regards to any kind of authority figure in education, religion, or in your culture in some way. Neptune is in your 11th house, so there may be some sense of like paranoia that comes up in regards to groups, associations, friendships. There could also be illusions and things around that as well, so I would be wary of kind of how you are viewing your friendships and maybe consider, like, are you overthinking your friendships? Are you being paranoid about who you're letting into your life? Things like that. Are you coming from a place of fear, or are you coming from a place of boundaries, right, with your friend groups? So be aware that illusions and delusions and deception and paranoia may be very likely to occur in your 11th house. So determine if this is some fear-based stuff that you need to work through, or if it's more something that's actually a problem, like someone's actually deceiving you potentially with Neptune in the 11th. Gemini. Okay, so this full moon is in your 8th house to your 2nd house, the moon in the 8th, sun in the 2nd. So with moon in the 8th, there's a lot of tension between your finances and finances you share with someone else. There's likely to be some kind of issue with someone who is either restricting your finances, has some sort of authority over your finances. Like, this is likely to be some kind of shared thing. Like, this could be someone who's older than you that you're going to get an inheritance from. This could be an older and maybe controlling husband or partner, and you are arguing over money, right? Because this is shared resources. So you're likely to have issues with authority figures in regard to your shared resources. Now, these power struggles will also affect your 9th house. So this could also be issues in regards to long distance travel, culture, religion. So there might be some kind of religious or cultural undertone to the issues that you and this person, this authority figure that you're working with in regards to your shared resources. Now, this is making that trine to Mars and Uranus in your 12th and 1st house. So similarly, so we've got Uranus going through your 12th. So your subconscious is very disrupted currently. There's a lot of chaos, disruption, sudden insight coming into your subconscious. So you might be a little bit more mentally and emotionally unstable than you would normally be. And this incident is likely to very much trigger that specifically, as well as Mars moving into the 1st house, being on that 1st house cusp. Again, that could be issues with like your physical body, your autonomy, who you are, who you identify as, and could potentially be accidents that have to do with like your physical body, specifically like a head injury or something of that nature. So I would be careful with that. For Taurus and Gemini specifically, so far, I would not go out in public on this full moon because there is some likeliness of a physical injury to the body, specifically the head, most likely. So I would be careful with that. But that is something that could occur if you're having some kind of conflict with an authority figure in regard to your shared resources, Gemini. You've also got Neptune in the 10th, which this could be creating paranoia, delusions, and deception in your career. So I would be careful there. I would make sure that you are not getting overly paranoid about things in your career life and with authority figures. Make sure that you're not coming from a fear-based set up mentally and emotionally, especially since your subconscious is being so heavily disrupted with these aspects. Be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself. There's a lot going on. And I know you're really smart, and there is something with travel, which I know you hate because you do love traveling, at least short distances. But yeah, try not to get too caught up in gossip and things with your career. Be careful of deception and people not being honest with you, things of that nature. But yeah, that's something to maybe have some focus on, is what's going on in your career life. How is Neptune affecting your 10th house specifically, right? Cancer. Okay, so this full moon is from your 7th house to your 1st house. So this is very much about an issue with a partner. So this could be like a marriage partner who is older than you or has authority in some way or is controlling, right? This is a one-on-one relationship. This could be a business partner. This could be a marriage partner. This could also sometimes be your relationships with people in general and having power struggles with anyone that you have a one-on-one relationship with. So your relationships are taking a very hard hit from this full moon, especially because Pluto is also in the 8th house of death, trauma, shared resources, transformation. So there's likely a power struggle with some kind of partner, one-on-one relationship that you have that is also affecting your 8th house of shared resources. So this is, again, likely that you're having some kind of issue with a partner over money or other resources, which this is trining Uranus and Mars to your 11th and 12th house. So this is likely really disrupting your friendships, your networking, your hopes and dreams, as well as your subconscious. So any kind of tension that may come to a head during this time with your one-on-one relationships are very likely to affect your friendships, as well as your subconscious, right? Because it's on the 12th house cusp. It's affecting, your subconscious and, how you feel and think and things that are coming up from under the surface, right? So this is very likely to be very triggering for Cancer, especially, because the sun is in Cancer. If you're late degree Cancer, this is going to be a very difficult full moon, most likely. So be careful. There's a lot coming up, and yeah, I'm sorry, your friendships are likely to just be really unpredictable, and there might be some kind of argument that you have with a friend, or you may have to end a friendship because of another one-on-one relationship, like a marriage partner. There's just a lot of unexpected events in your friendship area of your life, as well as disruption and a lot of rage probably coming up in your subconscious. So there might be some repressed rage, feelings of depression that may be from repressed anger, things like that. Or just feeling angry all the time and not really understanding why is a potential with this. So be careful with that. Leo. So Leo, this full moon is going to be in your 6th house. The moon in the 6th house, the sun in the 12th. So this is issues with health, spirituality, work, day-to-day routine, day-to-day life. So it's likely that you're having some kind of issue or power struggle at work with a coworker potentially. And this could be a coworker that has some seniority or is older than you in some way, but definitely likely some kind of power struggle either at work or in your day-to-day life. So this is someone that you probably see almost all the time, like almost every day, right? And maybe every day. So this is a power struggle with someone that you likely see every day, who you may work with. This is also with Pluto's going to be here in the 7th house. So that's going to be issues with like partnerships, like again, that could be business partners, that could be marriage partners, one-on-one relationships, but your relationships, there's some kind of power struggle going on there that has to do with this work situation, right? So you may be having to stay at work a lot because a boss is expecting a lot of you and it's really upsetting like your wife or your husband because you're staying late all the time or something. So there's definitely some kind of power struggle at work that's very much affecting your one-on-one relationships. And that is trining Uranus and Mars in your 10th and 11th house. So your 10th house in general is being disrupted a lot. So your career has probably been really unstable and unsteady, unexpected, really disrupted since Uranus has entered the 10th. And it's being highlighted currently. So there's very likely to be some kind of sudden break or sudden event that occurs with authority figures, your career, with the government, things of that nature. With Mars entering the 11th house, that could also be like an argument or tension with friendships, networking. And let's see. So Neptune is going to be in the 8th house, so that's bringing a lot of that energy, that kite, into your 8th house, which is trauma, death, taxes. So there's likely to be a lot of illusion around those things, a lot of paranoia and deception around death, taxes, shared resources, things of that nature. So one, make sure you're not being paranoid about your shared resources, things having to do with death, the occult, things of that nature. Make sure that you're coming from a grounded place, not a place of fear. But be aware that there may be someone who is deceiving you in regards to your shared resources and or tax situation. So be aware of that. Virgo, so this full moon is going to be from the 5th house to the 11th house. So this is really hitting your romantic relationships as well as your relationships with children. It can be your children, it can be other children, but there's likely power struggles in regards to romance and children. So this could be maybe you have an adult child and you're having some kind of issue or power struggle with them potentially. And that could have to do with their daily life and work. Maybe they're living with you and they're not working, or maybe they're working but they're not paying rent or something. I don't know. But there's some kind of issue with children and or a romantic partner that's affecting your day-to-day life and your work life. So that is likely to come to a head as well on the 21st, this power struggle with either a romantic partner or interest and or a child, and somehow that affecting your work or your routine. There being power struggles there. This is also trining Uranus and Mars in the 9th and 10th. So with Uranus in the 9th house, there's been a lot of disruption to your career, to your long distance traveling, to your culture, things of that nature, religion. So this could be unexpected events related to long distance travel, religion, culture. And with that Mars entering the 10th house, that could also be some kind of issue with authority. This could be issues with government in regards to long distance travel, traveling somewhere out of country. There could be issues with that. That could also be issues with religion and authority figures, whether that's, you know, the government or someone that you know personally that doesn't agree with your religious beliefs. Or it could be someone in your culture that you see as an elder or an authority figure in your culture, and you having some sort of issue or conflict with them, and there's unexpected events or problems that arise there. And for Virgo, the Neptune kite, Neptune is in the 7th house. So we're looking at, don't be too delusional or paranoid around one-on-one relationships and partnerships, marriages, business partners, things of that nature. There is a potential for you to be deceived in those areas, but there's also a potential for you to be a little bit delusional and over-romanticizing in that area. Just make sure that you're coming from a grounded place and not being paranoid. Like, make sure that if you're worried about some kind of form of deception, that there actually is a form of deception, instead of you just worried about it when there's nothing of that nature happening, right? All right, for Libra, so this full moon is going to be from the 4th house to the 10th house. And with this, there's likely to be issues at home, right? So this is going to be in the 4th house, moon here, this one's going to be here. So issues at home and issues with the career, things between family and your career life, things between mother and father issues, as well as, you know, your emotional foundation and authority figures, the government, things like that, right? So likely to have power struggles at home, potentially with a female, like a mother or a woman of some sort. Someone, it could be a family member, likely a woman. It could also be just an older family member or someone that has authority, like a landlord or someone who, you know, that you live with that has some sort of authority, right? So there's likely to be a like tension with you at home, between your home and your career life, and power struggles also in regards to children and romance and lovers. So there could be some kind of issue between your family and who you're dating, or between your family and how you're raising your children. Things like that could be a real issue during this full moon. And this will also be trining Mars and Uranus in the 8th and 9th house. So with that, Uranus going through the 8th house, this is a time that you've probably been going through a lot of hard things. There's been a lot of transformation, a lot of change. There could have been a lot of trauma, a lot of disruption with taxes and shared resources. And with Mars going into the 9th house, we're looking at potential like conflicts or disruptions with religion, long distance travel, and education, college, things of that nature, right? So there's just a lot of potential for conflict there that's really kind of stemming from this issue at home between your home life and your career, leading to issues in regards to shared resources, trauma, and, you know, the vision of your life, your education, your religion, things of that nature. Okay. Neptune is going to be in your 6th house. So your health has probably not been really good since Neptune has entered the 6th house. So this makes you a little bit more likely for disease, specifically because the 6th house is the house of health. It's the house of daily life, and Neptune is illness. But also make sure that you're not being a hypochondriac, that you're not being paranoid about your health, that you're not being generally paranoid about everything that's going on in your body and your day-to-day life. There could be some deception, as well as there could be some illness that you are experiencing in your day-to-day life and in your work life specifically. All right, Scorpio. So this full moon is going to be from the 3rd house to the 9th house. The moon is going to be in the 3rd, sun in the 9th. So in the 3rd house, this could be power issues and struggles with a sibling, especially if it's an elder sibling. This could also be issues with cousins or community members, again, who are also likely older than you in some way, since the moon is in Capricorn. And with that, it's likely someone you're related to, because Pluto is in the 4th house of family. It could be a mother, it could be a family member. It's also likely to be a woman specifically that you could be having issues with this. So that's definitely kind of the conflict that you're probably experiencing. And this could be over transportation, short distance travel. It could be over your siblings. It could be over your community. It could be over your communication style even with that 3rd house. And this is trining Uranus and Mars in the 7th and 8th house. So with Uranus going through the 7th house, your partnerships, your one-on-one relationships of any kind, business partners, marriage partners, any relationship has probably been having a lot of ups and downs, a lot of unexpected disruptions and problems. This could have been potentially a point when you got divorced or things of that nature, but your one-on-one relationships have been really taking a hit since Uranus entered your 7th house. And with Mars entering the 8th house, there's likely to be some kind of conflict over shared resources. So this could be inheritance. This could be dividing up marriage property during a divorce, right? So there's likely to be issues over taxes, shared resources, trauma, things of that nature, right? With that in the 8th house. Neptune is in your 5th house, so be careful not to be overly paranoid or over romanticize or be overly delusional in any way in regards to your romantic relationships and your children, because Neptune is in your 5th house. So this makes it likely that potentially there could be some kind of deception in your romantic relationships or with your children. There could be some sort of illness in regards to your romantic relationships and or your children. But in general, make sure that you're coming from a place of being grounded and not from being paranoid, right? All right, so Sagittarius, this full moon is going to be from your 2nd house to your 8th house. So this is primarily an issue over income. So this could be in regards to not having enough money, especially because the moon is in Capricorn. It's in your 2nd house of income, so there may be some kind of limitation or struggle with having enough income. It could also be someone who has authority in regards to your income, like a boss or a business partner that you're having some kind of conflict with, especially if you work with a sibling or cousin or someone in your community specifically, because Pluto is in the 3rd house. So there's likely power struggles there with someone in your community, and this could also be an elder figure in your community, and that may be impacting your income in some way. This is also trining Uranus and Mars in the 6th and 7th house. So since Uranus has entered your 6th house, you've probably had a lot of disruptions with your day-to-day life and your health. So your day-to-day life is probably really chaotic, and you might have a lot of unexpected health issues popping up out of nowhere since Uranus has entered the 6th. And with Mars entering into the 7th house, this could bring up some kind of conflict with your one-on-one relationships, a marriage partner, a business partner, or any important one-on-one relationship in your life. And with Neptune in the 4th house, that is in regards to your family. So be careful not to be too paranoid around what's happening with your family, what's happening with your emotional body, how you feel. There is a potential for deception or illness in regards to your family and your emotional health with this. Again, just make sure that you're grounded, because there is some chance of paranoia or delusions in regards to family and your emotional self, right? Let's see, Capricorn. So this is going to be from the 1st to the 7th house. So we're looking at moon in the 1st house. This is very personal. It's hitting you very personally. I'm sorry, Capricorn. So you're definitely having some kind of issue with someone over your identity, over your autonomy, over your physical body, over your sense of independence, right? And this could have to do with limitations that you have in regards to your independence and autonomy. It as well could be an issue with having some kind of authority figure or something with the government that's restricting you in some way that has to do with your sense of self, right? And some kind of conflict in like your one-on-one relationships. Pluto is in your 2nd house, so this is likely that these power struggles that you're having with other people are likely over things like income, money, and values. It is trining Uranus and Mars in the 5th and 6th, so likely your children's lives and those of your romantic partners in your romantic life have been very chaotic, very up and down since Uranus entered your 5th house. So this could be just a lot of craziness going on in regards to children, romantic relationships, and your creativity. And sometimes this could be good chaotic. Sometimes there could be a lot of fun that's happening, or, a sudden really intense romantic attraction, or suddenly you're really creative and a lot of creative insight. However, with Mars there moving into the 6th house, that could be issues having to do with work in your day-to-day life and your health specifically. So any kind of conflicts that you may be having with children or romantic partners, that's likely to kind of affect your work life with this full moon in some way, and your day-to-day life in general, right? Neptune is in the 3rd house. So in regards to your community, be careful of paranoia, deception, delusions, things of that nature. With Neptune in the 3rd, it's very likely that there could be some kind of deception or illness in your community in regards to your siblings and cousins. This could also be issues with travel that may have to do with like water in some way, especially short distance travel. Also like probably fluids, oil, gas as well. There could be issues with your car specifically due to that. So just be careful when traveling, because there's definitely potential for issues with that, with Neptune in the 3rd, with all this energy hitting there. Don't be too paranoid about your siblings and community, though. Just make sure that, make sure you're not being deceived, but make sure you're coming from a grounded place, right, Capricorn? All right, Aquarius. So this full moon is in your 12th house to your 6th house. Moon in the 12th, sun in the 6th. So this is really like a spiritual issue, and this could also have to do with like hospitals, jails, mental health facilities. So be careful. Be careful to not get in trouble with the police or anything of that nature, because that could end up with a trip to the hospital or to a jail cell, right? So be careful with that, especially because Pluto's in the 1st house. So this can lead to a lot of struggle and like power struggles and conflict in regards to your autonomy, your physical body, your authority. So Aquarius, be careful on this full moon, because this is a time where there could be some kind of issue in regards to your physical body and autonomy that could land you either in the hospital, the jailhouse, or maybe the morgue, depending on how badly it's hitting your chart, actually. But don't get too stressed about it, because it doesn't mean none of this necessarily means anyone's going to die specifically with these charts. You'd have to look at your personal chart, and whether you'd want to know that or not is really up to you. But I would just be careful, because no one wants a trip to the hospital or to jail, right? So Aquarius, be careful with this. And this is also trining Uranus and Mars in the 4th and 5th. So Uranus is going through your 4th house, so there's been a lot of disruptions to your home and your family. Could also be disruptions specifically that your mother has been experiencing. And with Mars going into the 5th house, there's likely to be some kind of conflict in regards to children or a romantic partner that has to do with family and the home life. So there could be some problems there. With Neptune in the 2nd house, we're looking at there could be issues with money for some reason, with income and values. There might be some paranoia there. There could also be deception around your income. So be sure that, you're getting paid what you're supposed to, but don't be too paranoid about it, right? Don't freak out about it, right? All right, Pisces. So this moon is from your 11th house to 5th house. Moon in the 11th, sun in the 5th. So this is likely power struggles with friends, specifically. Friends, networking, groups, associations, things of that nature. With Pluto in the 12th, this situation could really be triggering you on a deep emotional level and bringing up a lot from the past, even from past lives potentially, but potentially bringing up some deeper trauma with this. It is trining Uranus and Mars in the 3rd and 4th house. So there's been a lot of disruption to travel, especially short distance travel. So things with your car and just transportation in general has been really difficult since Uranus has entered the 3rd. There's been a lot of unexpected things, there even could have been a car accident at some point with Uranus in the 3rd, and I would be careful driving during this full moon with Uranus in the 3rd house moving into the 4th. And with Mars moving into the 4th, that could also be conflict with family, with women, with your mother, This could also be conflict with like things like siblings and community members with Uranus and Mars. You know, Uranus in the 3rd, Mars in the 4th, right? And Neptune is in the 1st house, so just be careful about how you view yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't deceive yourself. You know, be careful not to get over romanticize things or be overly delusional in some way, because Neptune's in your 1st house. It's very likely that you could be deceiving yourself or deluding yourself in some way during this time. All right, so that is the astrology reading for the 12 zodiac signs. If you want to compare any of this video to your birth chart, there is a link to a free birth chart in the comments, which I'll put in the links for YouTube. There's also a link to scheduling a one-on-one with me if you feel like you need more personal advice. Other than that, I am working on my workshops. I have not got them up on the website because I'm still having technical issues. I'm going to work on that more today. But I am doing the Astrology Basics course. So if you're interested in learning astrology, especially if you're new to astrology, this course will be really good for you. Even if you're not new to astrology, it's a really good way to cover all your bases to make sure that your foundations are really solid in order to move forward. I will do more courses in the future for more intermediate and advanced level astrology classes. But I should be doing the first workshop on Lionsgate August 8th. 888 because we're in an 8 year. I'm super excited for it. I already have like 6 people interested at this time, and the first five purchases of the workshop bundle is for $125. Like all the courses, if you bought them individually, is about $200, but the first 5 people to buy this course in its entirety will get it for $125, and I already have 6 people interested. So I will be messaging people and putting it up on Facebook and everywhere else once it is ready. I just need to get it up on the website. But once I do, I really do think that the courses are going to sell fast. So, you know, keep a lookout for the links for that. Other than that, yeah, super excited. Be safe. Be safe. This weekend, it is really tense. The energies are kind of scary. I would not be surprised if there were more kind of outbursts of violence like we did have on the quarter moon. This yet another reason to learn astrology is so that you can prepare yourself to know if something really terrible is going to happen. Not everyone wants to know that, but I certainly would like to know ahead of time personally. So, be safe this weekend. And take care, and I'm going to get out of here. Bye.